Hello, 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 hello. We're doing another one of these because, well, so for you this is going to be a very different timeline, but for me this is the day that we can proceed to start moving, and I have this outline sketchy thing done on this one already, and I know for a fact that canvas is incredibly easy to smudge graphite on, and thus packing it with the outline on would be annoying as hell. So I figure I'ma just do the thing now, because it doesn't take that much time and it'll be dry quickly. And it also just feels weird to have Sammy and not have Bendy yet. You can actually, Sammy's one of the few that you can actually see in the background. Right there. There he is. Existing in the background. So. Also. I'm just gonna keep complaining about the lighting, but it feels weird to have Sammy and not have Bendy yet. I'm not sure how, what. So, like I said, the entire kind of idea of this is that they're supposed to be, vaguely motivational phrases that you can see the character that is supposed to be, horror-based or, creepy vaguely saying. Hence me also including Has-Been Hotel characters, because while they are not horror characters, they are generally designed to be slightly creepy. So, I feel like they count. This is a much brighter yellow than I thought it was, but ah well. So, yes. I haven't thought of any for Boris. I think Alice could be something like "Remember You're Already Beautiful" or something like that, because that's kind of her entire shtick, is that she wants to be beautiful. So something like "You're always beautiful" or "You're already beautiful" or something like that kind of makes sense to me. I also would need to decide whether or not I go with, which version of Alice I choose. I think since this is supposed to be, the creepy motivation and horror characters, I would go with the melty one, but, I think I'm going to go with a slightly different yellow for the other parts. Just because I feel like his face can be the bright one. Then again, this also needs to end up. So I'm going to keep this kind of in the same vein as how I did Sammy, where it stays the yellow and white instead of the black and white, because that's the aesthetic of the game. So it feels correct to do. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it like this. That makes sense. As you can see, I went with the Dark Revival version. I think, I'm fairly certain I edited his outfit slightly. The reason for this is mostly because it's strangely difficult to find pictures of him in his little adorable tux from the Dark Revival. I think because it took so long between the original game and Dark Revival to come out, that everyone basically exclusively did fan art of his original version. So when they put the little tuxedo on him, it's just too late. It's already been flooded with art of the regular version without him having the little tuxedo. But I feel like part of the reason they gave him his little tuxedo was to kind of make it more clear that This is supposed to be kind of a blending of Joey Drew and Bendy in this version, because I honestly kind of feel like, so Dark Revival did a lot better story-wise than the original Bendy, but my theory, even with the original Bendy, was that, like, the cute, nice version cartoon was the innocent version of Joey Drew. Like, the part that did genuinely just want to be doing art, enjoying the process and such. And the demonic version is, like, what he became. It's like a monster you became story, kind of. That's how I always viewed it. And I feel like them giving Bendy a suit kind of similar to what they gave Joey in Dark Revival kind of sort of alludes to that too. Now that's obviously, it's just a theory, but that's how I've always kind of viewed how that turned out. And who knows, whatever they come up with next could prove me completely wrong. But that's also kind of how I've always viewed even larger corporate figures that exist in the real world, like Walt Disney. If you actually look into him, he did a lot of questionable things. Just generally, he did a lot of questionable things. And I feel like the innocence that tends to be portrayed with him kind of is because of all of the good that he did, along with all of the bad things. And Walt Disney is a company as well, but I mean, like, the actual man himself did questionable things. And I feel like this just kind of personifies that's how I've kind of viewed it, is so the cute little version of him is, this is what he wanted to be, and this is how he kind of vaguely viewed himself, sort of. But then what he actually did was horrifying, and hence it becoming a monster. And so I kind of view Dark Revival as also Joey trying to save his innocence, I guess, in a way. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense, but that's kind of how I viewed it, was Bendy and the Ink Machine was showing you what he actually did and what he actually became, and the Dark Revival was showing what he was trying to do, I guess, how he wanted to be portrayed, what he was actually trying to accomplish. I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense to any of y'all, but those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts and descriptions of how I view these characters. Hopefully I will get more Bendy and the Ink Machine merch, because I am severely lacking in that front for some reason. And I think it's because Bendy was, like, really easy to find stuff for, but only for, like, a hot minute, and then he was, like, very quickly overtaken by other things that were just easier to merchandise. Also, I need to remember to clean out my Bendy slime. I got one of those Bendy in the ink machine. So, actually, I ended up with 2 of them, but I threw one of them away. The cute little ink cartridge, the little ink things. The slime in this has certainly gone bad. But I'm going to wash it out and use it as a cute little trinket thing because I like it and I just keep forgetting to take it downstairs to do that with. And it's not like I don't have a plethora of trinkets to keep in it, let's be honest. In fact, it's almost the perfect size. I might just keep little tea light candles in it. And then I can just have that to keep on, about, and around the vicinity of my desk. Not sure. Unclear right now. Let's be honest, for right now, it'll probably end up being used to more safely transport the sand from my Zen garden in after I wash it, because that way I don't have to go out and find new sand for it. I feel like that one's a little self-explanatory. This I think is supposed to be a darker brown. I mean, I know technically it's supposed to be basically the same color as those, but I think we're gonna go with a darker. Oh no! I keep forgetting to not put the thing directly over where I'm doing things. I mean, that kind of works out, so I'm not mad at it this time. But I need to stop doing that because it's getting obnoxious for everyone, including me. Yeah, I accidentally watered that one up real bad. Oh well. I can just use you to shade this yellow too then, given that I've flubbed up. Because the watery, I usually shade brown or shade yellows with browns anyways. I feel like it works better because it's less harsh than using like blacks, and it also doesn't tend to add too much tone. Like if I want to shade it with like a cool, like with a darker, or I guess if I want to go for a lighting effect more, I use like reds or oranges, but if I'm just trying to shade and it's not supposed to be having like a lighting effect on it, I tend to use browns. So that kind of works out. Oh good, we've gotten over the ridiculous amount of water that was on here initially. Again, I can never quite get them center. So, like, there's that. Boom, 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 boom. I think I'm just gonna go back over this now that you've dried up a little, so that I can darken it a touch. Just a little bit. That way they match a little bit better. There we go. That's a little better. Alright, now what color do I want to use for the background? Well, I guess the background of his head. I might just grab that darker. I might just grab this lighter brown. That'll work probably. Yeah. Part of me feels like I should upgrade my Bendy costume to be more accurate to this version. And the other part of me is like, except the glory of that costume is that it's so damn simple. Because I literally just bought, like, I already own black pants. So the only thing I had to buy were, like, the devil horns And I could have made them, but, like, also they always sell devil horns at the dollar store for, like, $1. Every Halloween. So the only things that I had to buy were, like, a plain black t-shirt, because I live in graphic tees. I don't own any t-shirts that are a single color, because that's boring to me. So the only things I had to buy were the devil horns, which were, like I said, ridiculously cheap. Some people give him a tail. I usually don't, because he's not really... Well, I can't say usually. It's like a 50-50 shot as to whether or not to give him a tail. It usually depends on the composition of how I'm drawing him. But, like, I only had to buy the yellow bow tie, yellow gloves, and, like, a black long-sleeve t-shirt. The glory of that piece is that my hair naturally is so dark brown it basically looks black, which means that all I had to do was spray my hair the rest of the way black, and in doing so also spray my ears and, like, fade in the black to the sides of my face and, like, my neck area. And that's if I want to go extra. The minimum that I have to do is give myself the creepy makeup, because I usually go with, like, the sketch look. So, yeah. The, like, entire idea of that costume is that it's supposed to be ridiculously simple, and it feels counterproductive to then go in and add more to it. But on the other hand, it wouldn't be that difficult to add more to it and also just keep the original costume, and then I can just bounce between the two. So, like, I'm not sure how I want to go, if I want to go about making one or not. It most certainly will not be immediately if I do, because that would be redundant given that I'm working on losing weight. So it seems redundant to, like, try to make any massive costumes during a time in which I'm going to be shrinking. That just feels like it would not be a wise idea. So yeah. If I do make a Dark Revival version of Bendy as a costume, it will be probably next year. Because one of the things that I'm going to do as a series on here, probably, and definitely on OF, but here it will also work, is me just remaking all of my old costumes that I still want to have versions of. But, like, doing them better, because now I have more experience in making costumes. And also now I can fit clothes better. So that's going to be one of the series that happens in the future. Is me just going through and remaking all of my old costumes. Remaking them, making them better, upgrading them. And also probably deciding which costumes I don't feel like I need to have anymore. Like costumes that I don't care about anymore. Which, let's be honest, is going to be a lot of the Homestuck ones. 'Cause, like... And obviously those I will just make a video going through, like, all of my old costumes. Actually, that'll probably end up just being a short where I just go through the photos of all of the old costumes and be like, this was fun. I don't feel like I need this anymore. Of course, I might end up, like, there's a couple Homestuck costumes that I definitely am keeping. But, you know, we'll get to that when we get to it. And some of them I might not bother remaking just because they're so simple to remake that I could just remake them at any given time. Like, basically all of the trolls, or at least all of the like main 12 trolls are pretty easy to make, because it's just, we put a logo on a shirt. Which is probably why the only one I ever made for that was Curlo's. Or not Curlo's. Curlo's I do have multiple of. I'm pretty sure I've said that already. But Carcat. Carcat was the only one of those that I ever bothered making. I also did a Punky Gamzee. But I don't think I ever like finished that one. Mostly because I didn't like care enough, I think. I think I had most of the pieces, but I never like got around to taking photos of it. So like I like doing if I do like those versions of them, like I guess they would be the ancestors are like signless in those. Like the main 12, I don't remember what they called them. And I might end up redoing them just because part of me wants to go back and reread Homestuck on the channel, but do it like the way that I wanted to do it. Because the reason that I never bothered like listening to people read Homestuck, and also why I ended up getting so far behind on it because of that, is because it seems like everyone skips parts of it. They either like skip the introductions to the captcha logs or whatever, or like skip the like update portion. And the problem is that having actually read, because I read all the way up to the Gigapause. Actually, I think I read up to like the first 2 updates after the Gigapause, and then my life got ridiculously busy, and then I just never went back to it. So I think I lost my train of thought. But anyways, my point is that the main problem that I had with people who would do the reading portion, or who would read Homestuck on there, is that they always skipped parts. And having read up to that point, the problem is that basically every part of it is important. Like, if you skip reading what the updates are, you miss like important jokes and sometimes plot points. Like, one of the updates that everyone skips, or that a lot of people skip, just says, like, even right towards the beginning, so it's not even a spoiler if you haven't read it, is John, grab your arms, or retrieve your arms, or something like that. But if you don't read that portion where it's where it's the update, then then the rest of it doesn't make sense, because the next line is, John already has his arms. Those are fake arms. This is just easier to draw in, or something like that. So it's a whole thing. And so part of me kind of just wants to go in and read it, but like actually bother including all of those bits. And that way, the people who are like me, who are sick of people not including those bits when they read it, but also would like to have it read to them will actually know what's going on. Or will have an option to do that, I guess. Anywho, that was completely off topic as to what I was painting, but, you know, sometimes you just gotta rant for a bit about an unrelated topic you end up on because it vaguely relates to a thing that you mentioned. I don't know. Anywho, this one certainly needs to dry before I close it up. This one, however, does not. Again, it's important to make sure if the thing that you are painting, or if the watercolor palette that you're using has any puddles in it whatsoever, you let the puddles dry. I cannot emphasize enough to let the puddles dry before you put a lid on it. The good news is that the only part on this that's getting outlined is the head and the bow tie, because I'm just going to count all of this as background. So like head, bow tie, and like maybe this top part of the collar. And all of that should be beyond a dry at this point. Tori, why are you outlining something in black that's already black? It crispens the lines a bit better, I feel like. Even with me doing it more wibbly wobbly, it kind of, I don't know, it feels like it finishes it better. Tori, why do you insist on using fine liners on canvas when you've also repeatedly said using fine liners on canvas and on canvas is a pain in the arse? Because I have very little care about myself. No, that's not completely inaccurate, but that is an exaggeration. Honestly, the reason is that I find paint markers are almost always too thick to do any outlining with. And alcohol markers don't seem to blend very well with watercolors, at least in my experience it doesn't. So anywho, yeah, for you this is going to be happening way after I've moved. But for me, this is like the day of starting to move stuff in. We're not going to actually be staying in the house or in the apartment for the first night until like a couple days from now. But we're starting to move stuff in as of today. And all of the major moving gets to be happening on the weekend, and the weekend is when we're going to actually stay there the first time. Because obviously we're not doing as much during the week because we still have work that has to be doing. Even if my work is this and thus slightly more flexible. He also has like a regular job that he needs to be doing stuff with, and his family, which is helping us move, also has that, so it's just simply more convenient to worry about doing that on the weekend. Is black going to work given that I made the sides of this black? It should, because it should be dark enough. Wooed. Now to grab the phrase. Again, I have a list on my phone That is all of the... Could you not? Why? I have so many notifications that happen on my phone. Because I'm a little bit of everywhere. But whatever. Stuff to draw. Whee! There you are. That makes sense. All right. Now, is this supposed to be then or then? I think it's more than. There we go. That makes more sense. Now, I kind of want to make these have the devilly horns, like, since I did the O's and gave them the devilly horns, it feels weird to not do the actual one that they did in the thing. There we go. That feels correct. Ooh, you can actually see that really well on camera. Like in person right here is a little tiny bit muddled, but on camera you can see it exceptionally well. But yeah. Let me grab this. Ooh, whoop. Ew, whoop. Show it to the better camera. The better camera with worse lighting. Those are my options currently. But yeah. That's that. That's how that looks. Probably gonna worry about getting all of the stuff off of the walls in the interim. But anywho, that is all. Toodaloo.